Hey sweet souls, welcome back to my channel where we translate the human design language into everyday life so that life can feel easier and we can feel more authentic using our authentic energy. If that sounds like something you're interested, please make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already to make sure that you don't miss a video on this journey. Today's video, I want to dissect and help you understand what having an emotional authority is in human design. I would say you probably have a general understanding because the title is pretty specific and if you're watching this video, but if you are maybe one of my subscribers or one of my Instagram followers interested in learning about this and you have no idea what it is, don't worry, we're gonna do a deep dive into understanding what this one authority is. An authority in human design is essentially your internal compass. It is your decision maker. And something I always like to say is that all roads lead to the authority. So no matter what we discuss in human design, no matter what we discuss in life or anything like that, all roads come back to the authority because your authority is how you are designed to make decisions. And I did do a video that you can click right up here on how to know you're making the right decisions or how to make the right decisions, and it dives a little bit deeper into the root and the foundation of what an authority is. So I would recommend maybe checking that one out and then coming back here if you find out that you have an emotional authority. And the reason why I really want to talk about this today is because I am fascinated by the decision-making process. And the more I dive into the decision-making process and how unique it is and how customizable it is to each and every single person's energy, the more I just want to share this information and the more that I see how much people are disconnected from their energy in the world. Now, for me, I'm a gut decision maker, but not everybody is a gut decision maker. There are, like this video is going to highlight, some people are emotional decision makers. In fact, a majority of the world is actually an emotional decision maker because statistically, if you are a generator like I am, you will either have an emotional authority or a sacral authority, and generators make up most of the population, but there are also other energy types that can also be an emotional authority. So I feel like it's really important to highlight this specific authority first. If you want me to do a deeper dive into the other authorities, or if you download my free awareness manual at the link in the description below and you find out what your authority is and you want a little bit more information on that, definitely comment that down below and I can do that for you. But the free awareness manual is honestly a really great place to start, so I would start there. But today I do want to focus on the emotional authority because, like I said, a majority of the population is an emotional authority, so not everybody is designed to go with their gut. As unfortunate as it is, that is a really widely used piece of advice, to go with your gut, but that's not for everyone. And I'm also using my correct strategy in human design in responding, because when I go through my YouTube analytics, which are really fascinating to me, I saw that I actually came up in search for this. So people were searching for this topic and my channel came up and I didn't have a video related to this. So now I'm using my strategy in responding to that, but I also checked in with my authority and I said, yes, this video feels good. So now I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I also really feel for emotional authorities. I'm going to get into this in the video, but the reason why I really feel for emotional authorities is because unfortunately, you are never going to feel 100% in your decision. I know. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry because that's your correct energy, and we've been conditioned to believe we have to feel 100% certain in something, or something has to feel super confident in order for us to do it, but that's not correct for your energy, and I'm going to explain why in this video. But I first want to start with what an emotional authority isn't. So an emotional authority is not that you make decisions from an emotional state, or that you're an incredibly emotional person, or when you're really excited about something, that's when you make a decision, or when you're really upset about something, that's when you make a decision. Being an emotional authority doesn't mean that you're an overly emotional person, and it doesn't mean that you make decisions from an emotional state. In fact, it's kind of the opposite of that. So moving into what an emotional authority is feeling your emotions, riding the wave, and then when you come to a place of neutrality, that is when you make your decision. So being an emotional authority, like I said, it's not that you make your decisions from an emotional state, but it means that you have to feel your emotions and feel all of your emotions in order to come to this beautiful equilibrium where you can then make an actually aligned decision. Now I have my little notebook here and I'm going to draw for you what riding that emotional wave might look like in a general sense. I do also want to say before I get into this that it is really important to experiment with your energy. These videos are meant to be informative and educational and maybe even introductory if it's something that you've never heard of, if it's something that you've never experience or you don't have the knowledge in. That's what these videos are for. But we are so unbelievably unique. Like when you actually dissect a human design chart, there is the probability of somebody having the exact same human design chart as you is like 0.0001%. Like it's so minute, it's so finite because you are so unbelievably unique and individual. So any of the information I give is always going to be kind of general, but I do want to talk about riding the emotional wave because I feel like a lot of emotional authorities, whether they are aware or unaware, when they start to feel negative about something, they take that as a sign to retreat and to back away or like that's not good. But that's actually part of your process. And I'm going to explain what that means here. So here's my notebook. I'm going to draw a little wave here. And I'm going to draw a line through it. Now, let's say you're trying to make a decision. You want to experience the pro and the con and then come to a place of neutrality. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that like every decision is going to be that simple. You might have to ride that wave over and over and over again. And sometimes this can be like years in the process. Maybe it's switching careers. Maybe it's buying a new home. Maybe it's leaving a really long-term partner. Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe like whatever it could be. I'm not saying every single time you're going to make a decision, you experience one high, you experience one low, and then you come to a place of neutrality. You might experience a high, you might experience a low, you might experience another high, you might experience another low. The thing to really keep in mind with this though is that you have to have that balance. If you experience a high, you can't make your decision here. You have to wait till you experience that balance of the low. So if you experience a high, you got to experience a low. You experience a high, you got to experience a low. You want to make sure that these are always balanced so that you can come to this place of neutrality, which means that you've gathered all the information that you need. You've gathered all of the pros, you've gathered all of the cons, and now you are able to make an equilibrium, a balanced decision moving forward using your emotions and feeling all of your emotions. These lows though, what I was saying before, we want to be really careful with the emotional authorities. I had a client once who, whenever she felt like down about something, she was like, oh, that means it's not right for me, which is completely opposite actually. That down, you can't be afraid to feel it. You have to move through the cons, you have to move through the disappointment, through the fear, through the concern, through the worry in order to be able to come to this actually aligned place for you to make your decision. Now, the reason why I said emotional authorities are never going to feel 100% certain in their decisions is because they experience these lows. They are carrying these lows into that decision. So they are carrying these doubts and these worries and these concerns and these fears into that decision, which means it's going to take away from that confidence. It's going to take away from that certainty. So an emotional authority's goal is actually to feel about 75 to 80% certain in their decision. If you feel about 75 to 85% certain in your decision and you've ridden that wave, you've experienced the high, you've experienced the low, then that means that that's actually a good decision for you. Something else that I've found has really come up for emotional authorities is that they worry that they're going to miss out on something. They worry that because they're spending so much time riding this wave and taking the time to make a decision, that they're going to miss out on something. They're going to miss the boat because they took too much time to make a decision. That's the external world conditioning you and pressuring you to make a decision. What's meant to be yours is always going to be yours. And this really comes down to trusting our energy and using our energy in an authentic and aligned way. And when we do that, we are rewarded with the things that are right for us. So when an emotional authority actually embraces their emotional authority, embraces riding the emotional wave, you're never going to miss out on something that's meant to be yours, because you are aligning your energy in an authentic way. And then your opportunities that are actually correct for you and are actually aligned with you are going to energetically match that. That's the whole basis of law of attraction. Like attracts like. So when you are functioning in an authentic and aligned state, you're going to attract the opportunities that are authentic and an aligned state to you. So this is all about trusting the process, trusting the energy, trusting the universe. I also just did a video last week about a lesson in trusting the universe, which is something I'm still working through and still struggling with, let's say. But it's really important to trust that process and to trust our energy and to really have the confidence that when we are aligned and authentic with our energy, the universe, the world, energy, opportunities, all of that is going to show up for us in a way that is authentic and aligned. And the last thing that I kind of want to say here, I mentioned it a little bit before, but it's so important to experiment. Energy is so intimate, and every time I do a human design reading, which I call Authentic Souls Maps, and you can sign up for the waitlist at the description below if you're interested in diving deeper into your chart and having a really intimate understanding of how your energy works. I would definitely sign up for that at the description below. But this work is so intimate and energy is so intimate. And so I don't know what that emotional wave might look like or might feel like for you. Maybe it is really clear and it is really like this like high floaty feeling, excited feeling, and then a really like crushing blow, devastated feeling. I don't know what that feels like, and I can't really speak to that because again, I'm a sacral authority. I don't have an emotional authority. I'm just doing the best I can in interpreting this information, gathering the information from one-on-one clients, from friends, from other readings that I've done, in how this shows up for emotional authorities, and I'm doing my best to translate that. But it is really crucial and really important to actually experiment with this. If you're an emotional authority, what does that high feel like? What does that low feel like? What does that place of neutrality feel like? What does that 75 to 80% certainty feel like? And start reflecting on these things. And remember, you're never going to miss out on an opportunity that's actually designed for you and aligned for you when you actually align with your correct energy. Okay, sweet souls, that's all I have for you today. I hope this video was really helpful in helping you understand the emotional authority in human design. If you want me to do a deeper dive in any of the other authorities, comment that down below. I would also love to know if you struggle with your decision-making process. Like I said at the very beginning, the decision-making process is so fascinating to me, and it's so interesting to see how it works with the universe and how everybody's decision-making process is so unique and so individualized. So if you struggle with your decision-making process, I'd love for you to comment that down below as well. Let me know what you've tried. Let me know what you've experienced. Let me know if the awareness manual helps you and if figuring out your correct authority has been a game changer in your life. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know what content to create. Like I said, my correct strategy is to respond. I created this video responding to my YouTube analytics. So when you comment, when you like, when you subscribe, all of those things, I take them into account and I use my correct energy to respond to that in creating more content for you. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a beat on this journey in translating the human design language so that you can live more authentically. I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Hopefully you clicked this video and how do I know that? Okay. Okay.